In this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 of the most common mistakes beginner boxers make. I won't just be showing you the mistakes, I'll also be showing you how to avoid them. But before I get started with the video, I want to invite you to join my free school community. This is a place where I share exclusive content, get to talk with you guys and share boxing and fitness tips with you guys. The link to join is in the description down below. The most common mistake beginner boxers make is having bad footwork and a poor stance. When it comes to people's stance, they'll either be too narrow or they'll be too wide. Now, if I'm too narrow, I can be pushed over easily. So if someone was to hit me, I've got no balance and I'm gonna fall backwards. But if I'm too wide, I'm gonna find it harder to move. If someone's throwing punches at me and I need to move back, it's gonna be harder to move. Instead, what you should be doing is you should have your feet shoulder width apart, take a big step back with your dominant foot, angle your feet at 45 degrees and slightly bend your knees. Have your weight distributed evenly, around 50-50, and then from there, we're a lot more balanced. We're not too narrow or too wide. Now we've figured out our stance, it's now time to work on some footwork. So if I was to step in with the jab, a mistake a lot of people make is they'll step in with the jab and then end up too narrow. What we want to make sure is that whenever we're moving, whether I step forward or back, my feet are always the same width apart. So if my front foot moves this much, my back foot will then follow this much. It doesn't matter what way I go, forward, backwards, sideways, my feet are always going to end up back in this strong position. What this is going to ensure is that you're always in the strongest position possible with the most balance. Otherwise, without the correct foundations, you're going to be off balance and you're going to be easier to hit. Another mistake a lot of beginner boxers make is throwing crazy wild shots like this, just trying to get the knockout. Now you can see when I'm throwing punches like this, my body's open pretty much everywhere, so that leaves me open to counter shots. When you first start boxing, it's tempting to just want to throw your punches as hard as you can into the bag or in sparring, but in reality, that's not going to help you out. Instead, focus on technique over power. Instead of throwing crazy shots like this, make sure your elbows stay tight, make sure everything stays tight and neat. Practice your jab and your cross with proper technique. Rather than using your arms to generate power, rotate your body instead to generate power. So when I throw a jab, I can turn my shoulder and my hip a little bit with the punch. And when I throw a cross, I can do the same. I can rotate my hips with the cross. So instead of this, do this. One key thing to remember is that when we're rotating on our punches, for example the cross, don't overextend and lean in too much. If I overextend and lean in too much, I'm going to end up off balance. And I'm also vulnerable to counter shots, like when I'm throwing wild punches. Instead of leaning in with the rotation, keep your upper body how it is and just rotate from your hips. And the last mistake a lot of beginner boxers make is not staying consistent. Boxing is like any other sport. You have to work hard consistently in order to get good. A lot of beginner boxers will work really hard at the start, doing loads of sessions, working really hard, but then in a month, they end up stopping. You're going to get better results if you stay consistent. If you did a small workout every week, rather than doing a big workout 1 week, then 2 weeks off. The one who's consistent is going to achieve more. Inconsistency is going to lead to stalled progress and poor muscle memory. You have to keep training constantly to develop the skills and conditioning that you need. In order to avoid this, you need to stick to a schedule. Rather than just training when you feel like it, set yourself days that you're going to train. And on these days, make sure that you do train and you're not missing it. If you're tired, if you don't feel like it, then you have to do it anyway, and that is called discipline. You will not get anywhere when boxing if you only train when you want to train, so we have to make sure that we are disciplined. Remember, consistent short sessions are going to yield better results than inconsistent long sessions. A good way to stay motivated is by tracking your progress. Whether you're on the bag, you're sparring, shadow boxing, record yourself, and over time you'll be able to see that you're making gains, which will keep you encouraged to keep going. Remember, consistency is the key. So when you don't feel like training, you have to show up anyway. The days that you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway, are the most important days. If you found this video useful, then hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. And I'll see you in my next video.